Love.
Love.
And one of those.
And one of these. Oh my gosh. My friends are actually directing and writing the new Spaceballs.
No way.
Right on.
Right? Yeah.
Is it Spaceballs 2 bigger and rounder?
Bigger and rounder. I think it's the quest for more money or something.
Yeah, there you go.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah. Yep. So they're working with Mel, and Mel is loving what they have so far. So yay!
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how are all of you guys doing? I know, Brian, you were at New York, and Krystle, I saw you were at some fancy pants Lego something or another, right?
Yeah, I was in LA for the piece by piece red carpet event with Pharrell Williams. And it was amazing. If you guys have not seen it, I think it's in theaters now. So I would highly recommend it. It's not your average Lego movie. It's like a document about Pharrell's life done in Lego. So it's really cool.
Nice.
Is that his Lego spaceship right next to you there?
No, actually, I was teaching a Google class of engineers, and that is the Tales of the Space Age set that we use to teach that class.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'll be in New York this week. So, Ryan, I missed you by a week.
Ah.
Ah.
It was funny. I was in Costco yesterday, and they're selling
The suitcase?
the suitcases.
Yes! I want it so bad. I don't have it yet.
I saw them, and I'm like, oh my God, does Krystle know about this? I was going to take a photo and send it to you, but you know about it, obviously.
I do know about it. Or they're like $100, and they're so tiny. I feel like you can't.
Yeah, I could never use them.
They're for children.
I'm curious though if the smaller one clicks into the bigger one. That would be genius.
Oh, I didn't know there's two sizes.
Because they have the points on them. Whatever you Lego people call the point part of nuds. Nuds or studs? What was it?
Studs.
Studs. Okay.
Yeah, you're
so the studs. If the studs click together, that would be hilarious. Because imagine just being able to have to pull one bag because it just clicks together.
Right. Speaking of studs, Ralph Tedesco, as you can see, is currently absent. He had to attend to a emergency. Marilyn also will not be here tonight. There's a chance Ralph might hop on later on, but if not, we'll be able to talk about Evil Dead without him. That's right. We're talking about Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead.
That's right. Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, or as I like to call it now, I didn't call it back then because this other thing was invented yet, but I look at it now as the Clerks of horror films. It's guys, the little engine that could with barely any budget, but really good writing and an amazing lead actor made a movie that I think everybody enjoyed.
I love that.
I'm glad you brought that up because it was so nice to just see like all of like the rough edges and knowing that some. So do any of you guys know offhand? I know I'm jumping ahead, but those shots that they do where they're zooming through the forests, all I can think is like, all right, how are they doing that on a shoestring budget?
It's literally just a camera that someone's just
by speeding up the film.
But so are they just like walking and then just speeding it up?
Maybe walking fast, but it's helpful to speed up the film.
But see, there's so much like that throughout the movie, where it's like, no, this is solid, good practical effects.
Yeah, the evil is literally just a camera coming at you.
Correct. With the special effect noise. Don't forget the music and the noise. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that, if we want to get into the part of the cinematography alone, as basic as it was, very mid, as the kids would say today, it was something that gave that small space of just a cabin, of just that basement, of just that foresty area, of just that car. He made that world so big and yet so claustrophobic, all with camera angles and framing of shots and the amazing talent that he surrounded himself with for nothing.
Yeah, there were a lot of shots in that where I was specifically like, oh wow, that's really nice. Like the one scene here, and I apologize for like the low quality, and the sound design too. The fact that you have that rhythmic thumping, you know, on the swing, hitting the door, and then as soon as the guy touches the keys, it stops. But just this little like foreboding, you got the people in the background unloading from their car. You got the swinging door, or excuse me, swinging swing in the foreground by itself. And what did you guys think? There was the one scene where it was just on their eyes.
I mean, once again, he creates such a great, he's an amazing storyteller, obviously gone on to do amazing things since.
Much better
so,
things.
right. So, you know,
This is
the
where he's
cat, yeah, you know, the cat has the skill set to tell a story, and he knows how to frame a shot, you know, trying to find the DP here. But in looking at it, he knows the people to surround himself with that did it. Tim Philo, Tim Philo or Philo, whatever he wants to call himself. He did a great job, you know, framing and shooting these things. And then the editing by Edna Ruth Paul, another thing that was just so good. Tom Sullivan did almost everything when it came to the makeup department, the art department, anything bloody and gory between him and Bruce, combining their skill set. It's a fun watch. And here's the other thing. It's a horror movie to me, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
so growing up, I always thought that this was like a funny horror movie. And the older I get, I don't know why, like demons scare me a lot more than they used to. As a kid, like maybe I've seen the world, maybe I've seen like some scary shit. I don't know. But demons, like legit, like it was hard for me to watch. I haven't seen this movie in probably at least getting to 10 years. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched it at night by myself in here. I was actually like legit scared. Like, and I thought it was gonna be like super campy. Like, I feel like the second one is more of a comedy.
Oh, they go hard. They lean hard into it with the second one.
Yeah. Yeah. The second one is like definitely, but the first one, like this one, like the music freaks me out. Like the music is so well done. And going back to what Brian said, like the tight shots, I think really can make or break a film. And I think that they've done a really good job. One of my favorite scenes of this movie, I know we'll get there later, but it's the one where Bruce has like the blood, like kind of towards the end, like very tight shot of his face. And you can see like there's no inner dialogue, but his facial muscles are telling you the inner dialogue that he's fighting with himself. And I think that is what makes this movie like that. That scene is like like cherry on top. Like it makes the movie for me.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just cheesy, but also
yeah,
good.
Billy Campbell really carried this really, really well. And that's no insult to Ellen Sandwich and Sandweiss. As a matter of fact, we've been talking about movies. Oh, here's a small connection I have to it. So the small connection I have to this movie is all three of the female characters, all the three women, were part of a film that I did called Brutal Massacre, a comedy. Our filmmaker, Stephen Mena was a huge fan of this movie, obviously, and was able to get all three of these women to be a part in the movie I did called The Brutal Massacre. Now, Ellen, who's in the center right there, is got a majority. She plays this producer of this fake movie called Brutal Massacre that we're making. And then the other two women, Betsy and Julian, they were awesome, and they had other roles in the film. So that's my tiny connection to this world.
That's like a massive connection. That's really cool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is so cool, Brian. In fact, I didn't even know that you were in that film. What is it called again? So we
it's
can
called
watch
Brutal. It's called Brutal Massacre, a comedy. Let me bring it up.
I'm
there
like
you go.
writing it down. What?
It's a very funny. It's got the late great Gunnar Hansen. It's got Ken Faree. It's got David Naughton is the lead in this from American Werewolf in London. And the film I think we should review. Jerry Bednob, if you remember 40-Year-Old Virgin, the comedian who worked in the electronics store who was like, go fuck a goat. That's Jerry Bednob. So catch it now. It's out there. You probably can catch it on Amazon or Tubi or something like that.
Oh, it's Fangoria.
Well, Fangoria definitely they
okay, quote by Fangoria.
Yeah, they called it the Spinal Tap of horror films.
I love Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's old. Sold.
Yeah, it's a fake documentary about the making of a horror film. So if you love horror films or you like movie making, that's a very funny film that I was a part of. And all three of those ladies make an appearance in it. There you go. It's on Tubi. Perfect. Go get it.
That's amazing. I'm still
Yeah.
like, I'm recovering.
Yeah. And Ellen and everybody in that film did an amazing job. And this is where I first saw her, was in this film. And she did an amazing job. I believe that this is her in the makeup as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah. That's Ellen after she gets changed.
Yeah, that's like,
So,
that is stuff of nightmares right there.
and I remember seeing that on set when she didn't get her coffee.
Sounds like me.
Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn.
Oh.
Exactly. So let's get into this.
Yeah. So did you guys? I have seen this before. I imagine you guys have as well. Krystle, it sounds like you have.
Yes, I used to watch Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 like often, a lot. I actually had the Evil Dead 2 poster with Campbell coming out with like the chainsaw, like all sexy with the shirt open. That was what I woke up to every morning. The poster was above my bed. So that's literally like what, and I still have the poster in my dad's house. And yeah, I love Campbell. But like I said, like I just haven't seen this first one in a really long time, because if you get the chance to watch 1 or 2, I'm always gonna pick 2.
Right.
And I actually low-key, there's a scene in 1 that really creeps me out that I don't like. It's the tree scene. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I absolutely, like, if that scene wasn't in this film would probably get a higher rating for me, but that was going to bring it down a full star for me, because it is like, it's the worst. Like, it gives me such an ick. I'm aware that that's what it's supposed to do, but it goes above and beyond. Like, I don't know if in a good way, like, I don't know. It's a lot. And I saw this again at way too young of an age. So, but I was very aware of what was happening. I was aware that the tree was doing that to her. And I just like, yeah, that one, that scene always freaks me out. So yeah, I watched it a lot growing up. My best friend and I are huge Campbell fans. Yeah, I was a weirdo when I was a kid, though. Like, I was super into horror. Like, I was really, really, really into horror. But like I said, like, well, the older I get, the more it actually scares me, Brian. Like,
right, but I'm saying the way you said it, like, oh, I was a weirdo. I'm like, well, you turned out okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hello.
You're like looking back at all your movies.
I don't know. Is that a giant Lego trophy I see over your shoulder?
I know, right? Did your weirdness get you to Australia or something? You know, the thing is, I saw this on home video. I didn't see this in movie theaters, but we wore the tape out when it came to the home video watchings. We enjoyed it, you know, watching it or putting it on. And it's funny because if you see 2, or you see Army of Darkness, which is the 3rd installment of these actors, of this director, kind of, you know, 2 is pretty much this movie with a lot more money and a better budget, and you know, some better cameras and whatnot. And 3, Army of Darkness, is pretty much the inspiration. Is pretty much the inspiration of that game Serious Sam, to be honest with you, where you're just going against so many things coming at you. And if you listen to Serious Sam, that video game, the voice is kind of like Bruce Campbell's character. I got to meet Bruce Campbell years ago in Detroit at Detroit Fan Fair. It was a con that used to be in Dearborn, Michigan, outside of Detroit.
What color was his suit?
It was the bright red one.
Oh, I met him in the bright blue one.
Yes. No, it was great. I met him in the bright red one. He made it a point to go over to every single person's table and booth to say hello and introduce himself like you didn't know who he was. But also just took the time with his fans, still does. I know some places he has a limit where he's only going to see 400 people and that's all he's going to do. And so you got to get to your tickets early to see him sometimes because he has cutoffs. which I think is great, which means he knows he has this amount of time with each person to talk to, and they get their full time with him.
Yeah, you're
And
not
just a genuinely nice guy.
And to your point earlier, Brian, not to say that the other actors in the role didn't, carry their weight, but definitely Bruce. I mean, like he steals the show because in number 2 alone, I mean, the entire sequence. I called my fiance in to show her, like, what this is a masterclass.
Congratulations.
Like the way that he, what do you call it? Like, fights with his own hand, the entire time, and he's pretty much acting against himself.
Right.
And then to the point in number 3 where he literally is 2 different Ashes against each other, and he's doing Three Stooges routines with skeleton fingers, stoink, it's like, holy shit, this guy, you just wind him up and watch him go.
Yeah. He's fantastic to watch.
Yeah. And I had forgot, like, I actually, like, the part of me that enjoyed watching this again was seeing him at such a young age without all the, like, I guess the experience, seeing him kind of more raw, which was really nice. And, the beginning of the movie, I forgot how, like, he just stands there and watches the other guy, right? For the most part. And you're kind of thinking, like, in my head, I was like, oh, I remember Bruce being like the star of this movie. But the first half of it, I think they do a really good job with letting him fall back and letting the other guy, kind of run the show, if you will, until he, of course, doesn't. But I had forgot that. So, I'm very happy that we get to rewatch this.
Yeah. Which,
it's
we just kind of pivot into like the plot discussion because you're right, Krystle. He definitely has a solid arc, one that I didn't remember seeing. Because when I remember watching this, as a high schooler, I only remember all the fountains of blood and the grotesque makeup and all this crazy, killing. I don't think about, this was the first time I think it kind of clicked for me, where it was like, oh shoot, no, he is kind of becoming this hero. Like he is stepping up. And all the stuff, like seeing the emotion between him and this, his girlfriend, after giving her the necklace and then having to basically dismember her and dismember everybody. I don't know. It was really more satisfying. I think this was probably my favorite time watching it. Like, I think in high school when I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, a lot of blood. Let's do that when we make our movies. We'll make sure that we just like, I will say, if anyone has a chance, I made this movie in high school called Jack Slate 3, House of Murders, with all of my friends. And there's a scene at the end where he kills a guy with a weed whacker, and we were just throwing buckets of blood up onto his face. And it was like this was the inspiration for that. But now going back and watching it, I feel like I have a much better appreciation for all the nuances.
Yeah, this is definitely a perfect film for filmmakers and film students to watch, to see what you can make with such a lower budget and yet if you have a great cast and a fun story, you can run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
Jen in the comments said that she had this on VHS. I too had this on VHS. And also the DVD, it was in the necromancy case. Did any of you guys have that one? And it like feels like leather. It's so gross. I love that.
Well, it was the book. It was the Necronomicon.
The Necronomicon. Thank you. Necronom.
Diane, my girlfriend's dad, huge fan of this movie, huge fan of Bruce. When I met him in Detroit like 10, 12 years ago, that copy of that edition of the movie was out. He gave it to me to have him sign. So Bruce signed the inside of that Necronomicon edition. And yeah, it's kind of like it's got a rubber type of texture to it. It's 3-dimensional. It's really, really cool. And it's a great movie that, he loved it so much. He bought that edition, already owning it on VHS and on the basic Blu-ray DVD.
Yeah, Blu-ray wasn't out yet, I don't think.
No.
That's how old we are.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, how about the flip books? The time we had just go into a machine and turn a crank.
Yeah, right. Where's my Nickelodeon?
Yeah, exactly. But the plot, very basic. It's as old as time. Kids go to a cabin wanting to pretty much fuck around. and they fucked around and they found out that there
Yeah.
was underneath the Cameron some sort of portal to an evil dimensional world, and let the slaying begin. Very simple, but when you take simple premise but put really great twists to it and really amazing simple cinematography, and then a main actor who can carry something just by his physicality, and surround him with a really great cast and a visionary kind of director and crew. Here you have it.
Yeah, I love it. And Mark in chat was asked, do you think this was the inspiration for the Blair Witch Project, Racing Through the Woods? I would say 100% yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the movie Cabin in the Woods,
Oh,
anything
yeah.
in the woods, pretty much.
Anything in the woods.
What was that movie with the bear and DiCaprio, The Reverend?
Uh-huh.
Just anything with a cabin in the woods. There you go. Like, I'm sure, what's that? Chuck and Dale. What
Oh,
movie is
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
right? Another, you can easily see the derivative of this movie from that.
Yeah, and this was 1981. When was Texas Chainsaw Massacre would have been
70s.
74.
Yeah.
All right. It's just interesting to I feel like this, take that and this, and we're seeing kind of the origins of those tropes.
Right.
Yeah. And then
and I'm sure sorry, yeah.
No, you go.
I was gonna say, because Halloween was in the 70s as well.
Mm-hmm.
Huge hit. And studios were now clamoring for things like, Friday the 13th. We had the other movies that came out, and so they were scrambling for something like this. And so Sam Rami came out with this script just at a perfect time, just like when Clerks came out in 93, people were scrambling for a great indie kind of comedies. Here we were. So it was perfect timing for all these cats.
Jen in the comments brought up Exorcist, and that was going back to what Krystle, where you were saying about demons and possessions and stuff. I do think that that's one of my favorite genres of horror. But I definitely got Exorcist vibes from this, especially with having the girl's voice change and her face change.
Girl stuff.
Yeah. And being able to switch back and forth. Because one of the parts I love in The Exorcist is how, the demon has the girl, basically knows something about the person and is able to use that and manipulate the person. And they do that a lot in this. I'll be honest, I think I might be confusing Evil Dead 1 and 2 because I normally watch them back to back.
That's valid. That's fair. That's fair. That's okay.
But in Evil Dead 2, they do have the part where she's like, remember I used to sing that song to you? But they switch back and forth. So it's like possessed, not possessed, possessed. Come on, let me out. I'm okay now. I promise.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark with Omen too.
Yeah, and the makeup I feel like is even really reminiscent of The Exorcist, because The Exorcist came out first, right? Exorcist was 70s.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Her eyes. Oh my God, what happened to her eyes?
I'm like, yo, her entire face. What happened to her face? Like, I don't know. I feel like also it's just there are times where they're so chill with what's happening. Not just Oh
yeah. Well, one of my favorite line deliveries in the movie is, we can't bury Shelley. She's a friend of ours.
Right.
Dead,
you're right. I guess you can't, huh? If she's an acquaintance.
And for everyone watching, if your friends turn into demons, burn them. Just burn them. Don't
burn them. Dismember them.
Yeah, if you can't exercise them, burn them.
Yeah.
The Car.
Classic.
And by the way, has been in every Sam Raimi movie since.
This exact one?
Yep.
I did not know that.
It was even in the Spider-Man movies when his Spider-Man's uncle was pulled out.
No, you're right.
It is. It's in every one of his movies.
That is absolute. I did not put that together.
Yeah. That Car has been in more Sam Raimi movies than me.
How many Sam Raimi movies have you been in, Brian?
None.
There's still time.
Thanks for reminding me.
You got Secret Wars and stuff coming up. There might be a chance.
I know. Maybe. You never know. Eve, listening, Sam, you're Googling yourself. You're the type of guy who would Google himself. I know it. Hey, they're talking about my movie, honey. So he's watching your score. Krystle.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh shit.
Have you met him before?
He's like, he's been at cons that I've been at, but stupidly busy. Gee, I wonder why.
Right.
I've yet to get a chance to meet him in the green room, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I have only met him like getting a photo and moving along, so
Right.
I don't count that as meeting him either.
Right.
But I mean, he always just seems to be so happy and
Yeah.
like so happy. Like I feel like he's one of those who like truly loves his fans and like isn't like a pompous turd, you know? Like I'm serious, that happens way more than you would
Oh
think.
no, I've heard Shatner.
You're right, but I mean, there are
Oh,
things
yeah.
like when you're a self-made person, you know what I mean? You didn't go through the studio system. You got your friends together and you put together this movie. Then you went on to do other movies, and then people like, I want to work with you. You kind of keep yourself a little grounded. Even, Bill Campbell, same thing. Like he went on to do other things, and then Burn Notice and a bunch of other TV shows and other big TV. He'd do
But
appearances
he
on other
came
big TV.
back.
Right. But at the same time, he kind of Billy knows he's Billy. You know what I mean? I know I'm Bill Campbell, but he once again doesn't take himself too seriously either.
Yeah. What was his book? The book, like something about the chin.
Yeah. Oh, I forget what it was.
Okay, chat. What is Bruce Campbell's book? Like, is it like Thanks to the Chin or?
Oh, is this like a memoir that he wrote?
Yeah. No, it's literally like, okay, chat. You guys gotta come on, chat. Come on.
I will say, while we're talking about books, I like in Evil Dead 2 when he cuts off his arm or he cuts off his hand and he puts a bucket on top. The book that he puts to weigh down the bucket is A Farewell to Arms.
Oh,
Like,
I mean, that
don't remember that. That's hilarious.
that's the thing. That's the thing. They didn't take themselves too seriously in this, where it was a great horror movie. They have a great sense of humor and they know how to play it just right.
Yeah. Even to the fact where why would a light bulb be bleeding? It doesn't matter, but it's so cool.
Well, because the house is possessed.
That entire sequence at the end where he's in the basement and like the record player starts going and the lights. What is it, Krystle? What's the?
It's If Chins Could Kill: Confessions of a Movie Actor, Bruce Campbell, with an arrow pointing to his chin. I love it. He does not take himself seriously, and you're right. Like, yeah, love it. Okay, yeah. If Chins Could Kill. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Great Mistake. I should have read chat. Yes. Oh man, sorry, I was not focused on what you guys just said.
No, you're good. But let's move ahead because while we're talking about the chin, let's talk about the other characters in the film.
The chin is its own character.
Of course, it's got its own billing and the credits and everything.
Oh my god, hilarious!
You gotta.
One character, again, as I was saying, this is probably my favorite watch through of this film. The girl that gets possessed first. Also, that was a brutal scene with the pencil.
I just took a giant bite of spaghetti while I was watching that, and I was like, no.
I feel like this isn't the only movie. What was it? There was another movie that was it Hellraiser?
Probably, yeah. I shouldn't eat while I watch these movies.
I think
facts.
Yeah, but I love the scene where they're doing the fake little, what card is it? And she's getting them all wrong. And the other girl's just pretending to give them right. And be like, wow, you're so good at this.
Right.
And then the other girl starts. Yeah, like Ace of Spades, Queen of Hearts, Six of Clubs.
Right.
Yeah, it was really creepy. I don't remember it being that creepy as a kid.
1,000 eyes. Ipa.
Oh, also, fun fact. I actually will not watch this movie. I fast forward the part where, up the tree, but also the part where he's saying the spells that you guys tagged me on Instagram. That's why I didn't reshare them. I won't listen to that. I won't listen to that because it freaks me out. And I'm like, I'm not trying to invite that in my house. I got rid of all my Ouija boards. And my mom's 1920s Ouija board is no longer in my house. We still have it in the family, but I don't want it in the house.
I went to I'm with you, Krystle. I don't like to play around with that type of stuff. I'm not I'm not, as Michael Scott would say, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm also not stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they effed around and found out in the woods. Like, I'm good. The last time we messed with the Ouija board, I was like, no, we're done. We're done. Have you
But
guys seen ghosts
I-
before?
have we seen ghosts before?
Yeah, like IRL.
Yeah, I would say I've seen it. I've seen some.
I choose not to believe. I decide to write them off as I'm definitely Scully. I'm no Mulder.
So it couldn't even be the Matrix just resetting itself.
Oh, I mean, it could. I don't know. I would take sci-fi explanations. I would prefer sci-fi explanations over horror
So
explanations.
maybe they're not ghosts, because remember in the what was it, the third one? It was the two jujitsu guys that were ghosts.
Or it could be that Matthew McConaughey's daughter, or Matthew McConaughey's in my walls pushing books through, trying to communicate with me through the fourth dimension. That I could abide by that.
Yeah, no, I totally believe in ghosts. One of my aunts passed away, and then my uncle bought her house, lives in it, and multiple family members have seen her. The yard guys have seen her. They had a maid quit because of her. So like, yeah, and I've never seen her, but I have definitely been there when like doors open, and by open, I don't mean like open, I mean like handles turn and open, like I saw the handles turn and open, and then just got like really cold, and then I put myself right underneath the covers and like stayed there until the sun was like on my flesh. Yeah. No.
Meanwhile, you could have in your possession the portal to which she can go back to the afterlife with, which is the Ouija board, and you can send her back.
No.
I'm not even playing around.
No.
What's the matter? Don't you want to play?
No. When I was younger, I loved to play. I played way too much as a child. But yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Again, even no, because you're right. Even if they are real, why test? Why test the limit?
Why poke the bear? Right.
Yeah. So here's the thing, because like the last time we tried to do the Ouija board, we tried to like get in contact with my mom, and we did it in the room that she died in, and we were like really excited about it because my little nieces actually just played. Like my nieces never met my mom, and they had a tea party with Clara. They had no idea who Clara was, and my aunt came in, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are playing tea," and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're playing with our friend Clara." My mom's name is Clara, who died in that room, and so the whole family was like, "Ugh," and I was like, Ouija board, let's talk to her. She's here, let's go. So my sister and I got the Ouija board. It was my mom's Ouija board that had been passed down since the 1920s. It was like a wooden, hard, like creepy gothic. It's still in the family. And
probably predates the term Ouija board, I would imagine too.
I don't know.
But anyway, keep going. I'm sorry.
I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, no, just like weird crap happened that night. And I just ever since then, like I'm not super nope. Because you can open that door, but you don't know who's coming in. Like you don't get to choose when you open the door. You're just opening. You just open the door.
So now we're talking Fright Night again, where you're inviting the vampire in.
Yeah. No. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. So anyway.
Fair enough. I don't think anybody wants to have unexpected spirits or kind of, malicious.
No freeloaders.
No malicious demons come into
Listen,
your
I'm
house.
Paying rent here. Unless you're going to chip in, I don't want you slouching around.
Yeah, no.
How about I give you free electric?
Well, that's different. if you got my Pico bill, we're okay.
Did we do Poltergeist here or no?
No.
Okay.
But that's another fantastic one.
Yeah, it is. I like that one.
So
okay, are we on plot? Characters.
We can move on to.
We just did characters.
We did. You guys had any other characters that you wanted to highlight or mention?
I mean, there were 5 of them. So, Brian.
They're all really good. They all meet their kind of demise in very weird ways, and I think all the actors who portrayed them were really great. I mean, these 3 were really good. Those 2 were really good. Those 3. So I mean, everybody was really great.
When the one girl starts doing her cackling, though, that's where I'm like, all right, break out the chainsaw or the axe. She needs to die.
She's
I
gone.
can't.
Her time
Yeah.
has come.
It's good. It's good cackling, but it's just like, all right, the girl in the cellar making the noise, the girl over there in the door frame cackling. We got to clean house.
Right, but I mean, he gave each one of them. But all 5 of them are written really well. They weren't just hack kind of characters. When you limit it to yourself to 5, you can concentrate instead of like all these other ancillary characters.
That's true.
Each one of them had a specific point in the plot of the movie.
I feel like they didn't though. I feel like that was kind of like a complaint in my head in the back somewhere that like, I wish we had kind of had a little bit more like, hey, this one's getting possessed next because of XYZ. Like, they had like a trait about them that like they deserved it or like they asked for it. But instead it was just like, you were the closest one I scratched. Like, I don't know. And then also like everyone who got scratched then turned into like a zombie or possessedness, except for Campbell. Like he got bit, scratched, touched by all of them and was like totally fine. So like I
Nothing can kill the Campbell.
True.
Yeah, no, I don't think they ever had any established like rules. It was just, I feel like this Mesopotamian demon effing with them.
Yeah. There was no rhyme or reason, which also can be nice.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm going to torture you guys. Well, welcome to my house. You're all going to die one by one. I'm going to swallow your soul. Swallow your soul.
And they didn't have to, but they chose to play the tape. Like they could have been cool, but they were nosy.
They could have stopped it exactly. So let that be a lesson to anybody watching right now. Next Airbnb that you go to, if you find some weird recordings in their basement, just leave them be.
Yeah.
Go play some Parcheesi, break out the Monopoly, do that instead. You don't got to go rummaging through all of their ancient Mesopotamian artifacts.
Or sex tapes.
Yeah, that would be the worst. That's the worst.
Especially if they're demonic sex tapes.
Ooh.
That'd be weird. That we might have an industry for.
That would be weird. I'm sure that's a subcategory on those sites.
Chat, tell us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Any scenes that you guys liked the best? I talked a little bit about the house melting, and then also I appreciate that this specific scene here is direct feeds into Evil Dead #2. So like you can watch Evil Dead 2 from that point forward, and like basically it's the complete movie. And now you've just got like a 3-hour long Evil Dead.
Right.
Yeah. My favorite scene was definitely the top part that I talked about earlier with him on like the dialogue without words, like his inner dialogue with his face. That to me is like by far the best scene of the entire film, personally.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say the tree. No, just kidding.
My least
it's when they're first finding out what's going on. I really liked the interaction with all the characters about what's really going on, what could have triggered it, that kind of thing. The unknown, I always find like the murderous killing, oh, here it comes. But the what is going on here, I always find interesting.
Ooh, yeah. You just reminded me. I think some of my favorite camera work it's the hand cam from the outside of the cabin. Bruce and his girlfriend are kissing each other. The camera goes from that window to the next window where you see the following couple. They're doing their own thing. They're completely oblivious. We go back to the third window and we see like the more like open psychically, girl. And she sees the camera. Nobody else sees the camera, but she looks out the window and she makes eye contact with us. And then the camera moves off to the side and she follows with it. Like I'm giving myself goosebumps just talking about it because it's so like the fact that she sees us, but she also sees the camera, which is the darkness. And it's so voyeuristic. It's phenomenal. Good job, Mr. Raimi.
Yeah, voyeuristic is like a perfect word for.
Well, that's like in The Shining, where it's the kid is the only one who knows there's a problem there's an evil presence in the hotel.
Have you been to the hotel?
No.
Me neither. I really want to go. It's in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, really, really do want to go to that. Also, can anyone explain to me the part where sorry. Like the first girl is like the tree scene just happened and she's like, I want to leave, driving to town. They get in the car, they're driving, he randomly pulls over somewhere, then like he runs off, then she runs off, and they meet back at the car and have this weird like and then they're just back at the cabin. Like, what happened?
Possession?
But like, he's not possessed.
I think it might have been maybe she was just in hysterics. You know,
I feel like
they won't let us leave. They won't let us leave. The trees are alive.
I don't know. I feel like there's a whole scene that was like massively cut there, because like that makes no sense. Like, you just kind of like, you're like, okay, they tried to leave. Literally nothing stopped them.
Well, the bridge is. I know in Evil Dead 2, they show that the bridge has been ripped out.
Yeah, that wasn't shown. That wasn't shown in this one. Like, he literally pulls off on the side of the road, like when they're driving into town, and like he just gets out and starts walking away. Then she's like, what? And then she runs through and like kind of like has like a wood running scene, and then they meet back in the car. I don't think any dialogue, like no words were said. They were just kind of like, ah, 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 ah. And then like she falls on the ground kind of crazily. And then the next scene is just them back at the cabin.
Interesting. I don't remember that one specifically.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Now I'm worried though.
Like, okay, they didn't make it. Like, but like nothing was stopped. Okay, next.
Well, I know the bridge disappears and then like the path disappears. Where she's like looking out the window, or someone's looking out the window. Again, I feel like I'm merging Evil Dead 1 and 2. That's my own fault because I watch them back to back.
Because you watch them back to back all the time.
And that is why I didn't watch Evil Dead 2. Because I was like, I am going to talk about that one way more in this one, because I remember growing up, I liked that one way more.
I couldn't help it though. Like number 1 ended, and I was like, "Wow, number 2 is right there." It's like the Amazon even started like playing it for me. It's like, coming up next, Evil Dead 2. I'm like, well,
right.
You insist, Mr. Bezos. I'll be happy to. But Mark LeBrand is saying the Stanley Hotel. I was just thinking it's funny that like you don't want to mess with ghosts, but you'll go to the place that's like the most hauntedest in the world.
Oh, I love ghosts.
Oh, okay.
Like, I used to go on ghost tours all the time. Like, one summer I looked up my dad. I think I was like 12. Like 12-year-old me was like, yeah, Dad, I researched all the most haunted places in the South. And my dad, like, and my best friend and I went and did like a road trip. We also went to like the Queen Mary. I saw a ghost on the Queen Mary. Like, I think I saw a kid. I don't know. I was also really young. And at that time I really wanted to see a ghost. So I don't know if I like actually saw it or if I was just like, oh, I'm gonna, I don't know. But anyways, no, I love ghosts. I don't like demons. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, good. We're clarifying.
Yeah, I don't like demonic things because I
don't like asshole ghosts. If you're gonna be a ghost, be a cool one.
Yeah, like I think that's cool because I feel like they're trying to like communicate something. I don't know. Like there is a difference.
I want a ghost that's gonna make pottery with me. I don't want a ghost
like Casper.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, they're ghosts and they're demons. Demons are usually the will of a very evil spirit or Satan, whatever you want to call it. And yet ghosts are some that are trapped in a limbo, purgatory kind of stasis that needs to be corrected or finished.
Yeah.
I'm glad that this is our Halloween episode, by the way. Good material. Yeah. That's I don't like that one as much. That's a little spooky. All right, so we talked about scenes. We talked about special effects a little bit earlier. Obviously, the makeup is phenomenal and only gets better as the series goes on.
I mean, it's really bad in this one. Like it's great for the budget, but
right.
they're it is not. I would not call this makeup great makeup. Like you can see like so much of it, especially if you watch this on like a very large TV, like I was doing. And like yeah, it's great for its time and the budget. Yes, 100%. But yeah.
As we've established with RoboCop, I'm just a sucker for claymation. So the second that they have any sort of stop motion going on in there, I'm like, done, sold.
Okay, I do. I think it's crazy. Oh, these are cool. I love these. Oh, these are great. I love the Michigan State sweater, by the way, too. Yeah, I really do appreciate the decay part, and I love how like right when you think it's over, there's a whole nother part that comes on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know it was done in the 80s, but it's just so 70s looking. I love it. I mean, it's 81, so it's right there. But oh, these are great.
Look at a young Sam Raimi with his little beard.
Look at baby Campbell. Oh my god.
See, and like Brian, I have to imagine that like flipping through these does like bring back Clerks production memories. Because
well, no, I mean when you're working with friends and you're trying to figure things out, you know, and you're like they're in a van shooting out the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's literally holding it open.
You're right. While someone's holding it open, not being tied down. Here they are literally removing planks from the bridge so they could do that scene. These are the type of things that you think, geez, you know, it is what it is. You're in the swamp for water shots. You know, it's look at the raft that they put this guy on and 4 guys.
All right, that's how they did. I was wondering how they were doing the water shots.
Yeah. You could find these photos on IMDb, by the way.
Oh, I love this.
You know, and it's everybody chipping in. And, you know, I see a guy over there with a fogger. Obviously, they were getting mosquitoes out the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a mosquito fogger. I'm sure someone got some sort of disease. But that's the type of thing. You know, you try to make these films with as little of a budget, yet the most you can bring in. And that's what happens.
It's crazy. That's cool. That's very, very cool.
Well, does anyone have any parting thoughts? Any thing that they'd like to mention about the film or their thoughts on the film before we move to the scores?
Well, I mean, look at this movie and see what Sam Rami, his brother, his friends, what Bruce, all the women who were part of it were able to do with such a very, small budget, but with the right kind of we can do this together attitude.
Yeah.
And to get it out there. And it was something that wasn't quite done before, a horror with comedy elements to it. Everything else was pretty much straight comedy that took themselves seriously. These guys didn't take themselves seriously, yet they made a very good movie that audiences enjoyed for its campiness, for its low budget, rough edges of certain things. And some of the camera shots are still angles that were like, how did they get that done? When you're looking at it via a filmmaker's eye, from an actor's eye, you go, wow, look what they did for what little they had.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at it from today's standards, it's very mid, it's very basic, it's very simple. It almost even looks like it could be student film level today, just because today's students have a lot more access to special effects software. Literally, if we had this phone while making Clerks, we, may have been able to do it in color.
I'm so glad you didn't.
Right. But these are the type of things today. These are the stepping blocks. These films are the stepping stones of films that came afterwards. There wouldn't be Cabin in the Woods without this. There wouldn't be a Saw, I don't think. There wouldn't be, that kind of thing. So you never know.
Why do you think this has such a mass cult following? Because this movie doesn't have just a small cult following. This is one of those horror movies that has one of the massive cult followings, and I do attribute Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 obviously were the ones that kind of like really solidified that. But even before Army of Darkness, they had to have had a pretty good following to make the second film.
Right. I believe it's because it appeals to everybody. I think the elements of comedy appeal to people who's like not real horror fans. I think the fact that there's a majority of female characters is a good thing to have women be a part of the horror community. I think Bruce Campbell really putting the franchise on his back and doing as much as he did, physically abusing his body to get certain shots done, was like, oh shit, who is this guy? He should be in more shit. And that mix, like, again, it's not a straight up horror movie and it's not a straight up comedy, but there are elements that blend together so well. And it's also came at the king time of the 80s kind of horror movies.
That's true. That's true.
We didn't have cable really predominant back then. We didn't have, the internet, cell phones. You went out to do things and people went to movies. Home video sales were good, but they weren't the thing back in the day. So, I think there's a lot of reasons why people loved it. And I'm glad it did, because look at all the films Sam Rami came out with since then.
Do you think the first one, like, would you label the first one as comedy? I don't know if I would.
It's not labeled a comedy.
Okay,
absolutely
like the second and Army of Darkness, yes. Like, I feel like Army
Mhm.
of Darkness is super cheesy and ridiculous.
Right.
That's when they like fully
Yeah,
embraced it. I feel
totally
like
leaned into
a
it.
little bit of it. Like, each one got funnier.
Right.
I feel like this one, like, rewatching it, I was like, this is not really comedy. Like, this is like, I was kind of scared.
Right. Absolutely. No, this is straight up horror, but
Yeah.
it's one of the few horror films that leans into comedy.
Okay, I guess I could see
That
that.
uses comedy to continue stories or to make points. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
pick any horror movie that's kind of like come out within the last 10 years, 20 years, and most of them are so matter of fact, like, we're taking this serious, which is good, like you should.
Right.
But it is just very refreshing to have, like you said, those kind of like comedic moments that
Right.
like, listen, we're having fun. You guys are having fun.
Right.
Yeah, that person just got stabbed and, decapitated, but we're all having fun. You
Right.
know?
Like Dale and what's that movie again?
Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale. That was a comedy that just so happened to be a horror. That leaned into a horror element. Right.
Yeah.
And so there, and then obviously Scary Movie is nothing but a comedy that
I love
pokes fun of all the industry for that matter.
And not a Scary Movie.
Right. And so those are the type of things that I'm glad that Sam Raimi leaned into. He uses elements of that even in his current movies that he works on. He's always been really good with kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of humor. So I've always enjoyed this movie. I've never saw this movie and went, what's this bullshit? I've always been like, this is awesome.
Yeah. No, same. And I cannot wait to watch Brutal Massacre. Like, I am very excited about it.
Yeah, you should be fun. You should definitely, I didn't mean this to be a plug for it, but I will anyway. Brutal Massacre, a comedy, by all means, catch it now. It's on Tubi. Very funny, worth it. It's about the film industry and about making a horror film. Very, very funny. David Naughton kills it in this. The late, great Gunnar Hansen, who was Leatherface in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then Ellen Sandwich, who we just saw here in Evil Dead, is in it. Actually, all the women from Evil Dead show up in this movie as well. So you'll enjoy it. I'm absolutely guaranteeing it.
I love it. I'm so excited. I can't believe I have
It was another.
What year
that came out in 2009? It came out.
2009.
I really like the box art too. It's very like National Lampoon.
Yes, that's the re-release art. The original art was like a zombie hand coming out of a popcorn bucket.
That's cute. That's cute. Awesome. All right. Is it time for ratings?
I think it is time. All right. So there we are. Ghostbusters is still the number one ranked film for the year, although Conan, I think, snuck into third place with its 3.99. So it would go Ghostbusters, Blade Runner, and then Conan.
Yeah,
So
Blade Runner was awesome.
hopefully, Krystle and Brian, you are happy with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with all that.
All right. So who wants to give their score first?
I could do that real quick. This is a pivotal film in horror making in general. Launched the career of a great filmmaker. I like their plucky attitude of making a film that they wanted to make and not listening to anybody but themselves. That alone gets it a high rating. But overall, yes, there are shortcomings with this film. Even for it back in '81, the flaws were obvious, and the shortcomings were obvious. But for it to then step aside all that and still garner a huge cult following and fan base to this day, you can't go into any shopping mall and any hot topic without something on the racks or on the walls that are Evil Dead related. So that being said, I'm giving this a 3.75.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
3.75 from Brian.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Noah and chat, please let us know what you would rank this as well.
Yes, please. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Because I saw my Weird Science score was 3.25, and I definitely enjoyed this more than Weird Science. Brian, as you said, not without its flaws, but I mean, it just brings me back. Part of it's definitely nostalgia, but I made so many crappy low budget videos with my friends growing up in high school, and especially looking at those behind the scenes photos that you brought up, I remember it being 2 a.m. in my friend's parents' house and us in the backyard, covering each other with blood. Like, that's what you do. You got to do it. we can't stop filming. So like, I really admire this film. I think it's very inspiring. Again, it can be horror, it can be comedy, it can be whatever you want it to be. It's just a great movie. And again, as you were saying, Brian, it's now entered the cultural consciousness.
Yep.
Ash is an iconic character.
I forgot his name was Ashley. I know that sounds so dumb, but I really
I'll be honest. I don't think I knew that either. I always just thought it was Ash.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but the fact that Ash is a iconic character now, he's an action hero. And it's because of these movies. And getting to watch this and see all those little like things that Sam Rami would then take and kind of adapt into his signature style, Dutch angles, close-ups on people's eyes, fast-moving camera. It was just a real treat, gosh darn it. So I like it, and that's why I'm giving it a 3.5.
Okay, I would give Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 higher ratings. Just keep that in mind. I do like both of those significantly more than this one. However, this is the one that started it all, so I feel like we do need to acknowledge that and give it praise for that. I'm going to give it a 3 because, again, I would probably give the others a 4. But that tree scene knocks it down for me. So I just even now, it's a lot to take in. I feel like they could have just not had that.
It does go for a little while, but again, it's like, I know you even said it yourself, you recognize that that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you uncomfortable. They're trying to make you, And
again, I saw this way too early.
And do you think that scene would stay if it was put out today?
No. Do you?
No.
Yeah. No. And honestly, it's literally 4 seconds that could be cut from that scene. It's just the part, that 4 seconds that just could be cut. And then I think it would just be a totally different feel. But yeah, that was probably, anyways. Yeah. So I give it a 3.
Nice.
Do we have any of the ratings from anyone else that aren't here?
Oh, yeah.
I did not get anything from Ralph
or Marilyn.
No.
We can
Okay.
add. We can.
We'll
add
just have to assume it was a 5 for both of them and call it a
Yeah, that, that'll even it out.
that's
I
right.
think I heard Marilyn. I think
Oh,
Marilyn was
This
saying
seems like This seems like a Marilyn movie for
one
sure.
of her
a
favorites.
Marilyn 5 for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And if I remember correctly, the tree scene she loved. Wished it could have been longer.
Marilyn would hate this movie so
I know.
much.
I know. I can imagine what she would have said.
She'd be like, "Why do you guys make me watch this?"
Exactly.
I will say, looking like it's getting a lot of love from the comments. Chris,
It is. I see a 4.5 here.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a cult classic, and and again,
and he's right. Don is right. Based on the era, quality, the budget, watchability, it's definitely, if you're gonna put that out there, that's definitely that. So what do we have at? Go ahead.
Yeah, and that is why I gave it a higher,
right.
Yeah, for sure. All right, do we have the artwork for this?
Yes. All right, get ready. Drum roll.
No.
And you were talking about that 1970
car. Yeah.
Yep.
Groovy,
baby.
work shed.
Well done.
And now who
who
made this one?
This is Elias Chatzoudis.
Very well done.
Is Elias doing all of them this year?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll give you a little sneak peek of his next one. That is also an Elias cover.
Oh, there's the original Superman?
So for November 20th, we'll be reviewing the Christopher Reeves movie that started it all.
Right on.
I'm excited about this one. I haven't seen this one in a long time.
This is apple pie, summer camp. This is all American movie right here.
You got me. Who's got you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hilarious.
Classic line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is going to be our next movie club. Our next Zenescope live stream is going to be our virtual horror con. That is next week.
What? Okay, cool.
I know. If anyone is going to be in Oaks, Pennsylvania, the second week of November, Sarah and myself will be going to Monster Mania, which I'm very excited for. Although Sam Rami was supposed to be at Monster Mania, but he canceled. So I was a little disappointed. I was gonna get to show him this cover because we would have come right off. I'm sure he would have.
See, if we would have given him a 5, he would have changed his mind.
I know. I'm sorry, Mr. Rami. Do you guys have anything that you'd like to plug coming up?
This coming weekend, I'm at Chiller Theater in Parsippany, New Jersey. This Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The lineup is gigantic. And by the way, they spell theater the European way. So you want to go to chillertheater.com for the information. If you're in the Parsippany, New Jersey area, it's at the Hilton in Parsippany. They have some huge people on the lineup. And I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Nice.
Otherwise, watch Brutal Massacre tonight.
I might. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm very excited about that. I love Spinal Tap growing up.
Yes.
Me. Okay, what do I have? I have a if you guys are going to be in Houston, I'm going to be opening up the new Bricks and Minifigs outside of Houston. I'm horrible and forgot the name of the town. I'm so sorry. It's really small. And follow me on Instagram to find out. Michelle and I will be there, not this weekend, but next weekend. And then I will be in Minnesota to do another Bricks and Minifigs opening in Rochester. And then I will be in Salem, Massachusetts for New Year's for the Bricks Fest Live. So if you have kids, it's kind of more of a kid show. I'm just being real with y'all. Like, I don't want you to get there and be like, I hate you, Krystle. It is, yeah. I'm really good at sales. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. And by the way, I looked up Ouija boards. They were actually invented in 1890.
Oh, all
They
right.
have been called Ouija boards since the 1890s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just saying. Just saying.
Well, no,
And,
I know that they.
and I think before that they were called Satan's doors.
Are you being serious? Are you kidding? I can't tell.
Yeah, Satan's doors.
Really? I believe you right now.
Yeah,
Damn
you have-
right.
you-
I
you
knew
just have
it.
to
I
not
was like,
speak
wait,
on.
I can't tell.
He's good. The guy is good.
That would be a good name if I did a knockoff version of it. How would you like to own Satan's door?
I mean, that's literally what they are. Yeah, no.
Right. You're gonna welcome them in or not. All of a sudden, who's at the door? Could it be Satan?
See?
Man shark.
Yeah, exactly.
Before
I'm
I
gonna
go,
work. I'm gonna go and patent that right now. Satan's
there
door.
you go. Before I go, I just want to say quick congratulations to M. LeBrant, who I think is in the comment section right now.
Oh.
He was the winner of last month's giveaway, and we'll be announcing this upcoming month's giveaway at the end of the stream. Unfortunately, I was in a car for like 3 hours today, so I did get all the graphics done that I needed to.
Hey, did you get the Lego that I sent you?
Yes, I did, and that is on its way. That I think that has already been received by our winner. So thank you.
Yay! Awesome, awesome. Okay, cool.
All right, cool. Well, we will see everybody next month, and until then, happy Halloween. Krystle, what are you being for Halloween?
I'm typically always a cat on the day of.
No, and Brian, what are you going to be for Halloween?
Inebriated.
Perfect. Done. Here you go. Good answer. All right, everybody. Have a happy and safe Halloween. Look out for razor blade apples and love.
Love. Oh.
Love. Trick or treat.
Bye, y'all.